Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a son of a state trooper, is also someone who served as a chaplain to police agencies and also those who are our first responders. This is a very important bill to me, and I cannot think of a better member from our side of the aisle who has supported this, and also the chairwoman and others who have supported. But Guy Reschenthaler is a champion of this from his service days and from his background. It is a pleasure to yield as much time as he may consume to the lead author of the Republican side of the Stoic Act, Guy Reschenthaler.
Thank you.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague from Georgia and ranking member, Doug Collins. I rise today, Mr. Speaker, in support of Senate Bill 998, the Senate companion to this bipartisan legislation that I introduced with Congresswoman Dean that will address the mental health needs of our nation's police officers. Law enforcement officers put their lives on the line every day to protect our communities. Last year, the Tree of Life Synagogue was under attack. The Pittsburgh police and police from around the region ran into open gunfire to stop a deranged, hateful madman intent on killing as many worshipers as possible. Were it not for the heroic efforts of the police that day, the tragic loss of life could have been much worse. Across the country, we sleep safely in our beds each night because our law enforcement officers. But the critical work that these men and women undertake does not come without a cost. According to the National Study of Police Suicides, law enforcement officers are 2.5 times more likely to die from suicide than homicides. Studies show that police officers have above average stress levels that lead to post-traumatic stress, heart disease, and high blood pressure. So despite all they do for our communities, the federal government provides few resources to address the consequences of their taxing work. The Stoic Act is a bipartisan piece of legislation that will reform and expand an existing grant program to better address the mental health and support needs of our law enforcement, most importantly as it relates to suicide prevention. I'm very grateful to Senator Hawley and the White House for their work to get this bill through the Senate. I'd also again like to thank Ranking Member Doug Collins and Chairman Nadler for prioritizing this important piece of legislation. And most importantly, I'd like to thank my friend and fellow Pennsylvanian, Congresswoman Dean, for her tireless work to improve mental health treatment for police across the country. Throughout this entire process, Congresswoman Dean has shown tremendous appreciation for law enforcement officers and great concern for well-being of themselves and family of law enforcement officers. And it's truly been a pleasure to work on this bill with Congresswoman Dean. So I ask my colleagues to support the Stoic Act today. It is time for us to take care of those who take care of us. I yield back the balance of my time.